What's up, guys? Phil Viz here. A lot of you guys are stressed out, freaking out about the situations going on. Maybe not so much worried about the virus, but the situation that it's caused in the real world. Many of your gyms are closed, and that's why we're here. For all of my guys and all of you people at home watching this, if you have gym access, fuck this. Ignore it. But for those of you that are stuck at home, I know in a lot of countries, they actually have everybody locked indoors. San Francisco has a 24-hour lockdown, so nobody's allowed out. People got to work out at home and do the best with what they can do. So I'm going to try to be thorough with this, a little bit more so than some of the other people have done. I know a lot of people have tried to do their best and give the public a lot of exercises that they can do at home and just ways to stay in shape and keep it going. So I'm going to try to just step it up a notch from there and structure days and intensity and be a little bit more thorough on what you can and can't do or what you should do in order to get the most out of all of your workouts and maybe progress or maybe tighten up a little bit or even get a little better. It depends on what it is that you're doing. Remember, this program is going to be something that's drastically different than what you've typically been doing. So when you do something drastically different than what you've typically been doing, think about whenever you've done a new exercise. You do a new exercise, you get really, really sore from it, right? Because your motor unit recruitment patterns are not programmed and your body is unfamiliar with what it needs to do to get that done, so it struggles. So it's harder for the body to do it initially. So it's going to make the muscles work harder. You're going to get more sore. Your body's not going to buffer lactic acid out as well if you're doing higher rep ranges and more time under tension than what you're typically used to. So this will work for a good stimulus initially, and hopefully, we're not stuck indoors for more than a couple of weeks. We may be, but let's hope that we're not. All right, so now let's get into the program. I know you guys are used to me just shooting from the hip and rattling off what's in my head, but for the sake of being a little bit more thorough, I wrote some notes for myself. So you might see my eyes going like this. I'm just real enough. I got to tell you guys, I feel more comfortable telling you I'm reading from a script than trying to pull it off without you knowing. So first off, it's hard to get going when you're at home. It's hard to get amped up working out in your home, without going to a gym. So your neural drive's not going to be as good. I don't suggest you take a pre-workout. We're not banging and slinging heavy weights, but we still want to get going. So a cup of coffee, that'll do the trick. One of my favorite things to do the trick when I want to wake up in the morning or when I just want to wake myself up and get my nervous system going is an ice cold shower. I'm talking icy cold. 60 seconds under that shower, then you can turn it hot if you'd like. But that 60 seconds is going to wake you the fuck up. It's miserable. Force yourself to stay under it for 60 seconds. Then you can step out, heat it up, warm yourself up. What I like to do is, again, I like to turn the water off and let myself drip dry a little bit, open the door to my shower, be a little bit cold. It really, really, really wakes you up. Another thing, dress for the gym. If you allow bad habits or your mind to treat this like I'm at home, I can do whatever the fuck I want, that's how you're going to treat the workout. So take this seriously. Get dressed like you're going to the gym. Next thing, you're at home. A lot of people are going to try to do their workouts with their television on. No. Do you watch TV in the gym? No, you don't. So turn the fucking TV off. Put some pump up music on. Get moving. Another point, no distractions. I know some of you guys have kids. You get calls, phone texts, work, whatever, but you got to shut it off for your workout the same way that you would in the gym. You wouldn't do that there, you shouldn't be doing that here. It's hard enough already to stay focused. Don't make it any harder on yourself. Another point is you're going to follow a reduced meal plan. Let's be honest, we're not throwing around big, heavy weights and stressing the hell out of our entire body. Consider this more of an isolation workout. Imagine you went to the gym and you're doing a lot of cable curls and bicep curls and tricep press downs, but no real skull crushers or close grip bench or heavy bench, deadlifts, none of that. Just all curls, machines, isolation, leg extensions, leg curls, no lunges, no squats, none of that. Just all the easy isolation stuff. It wouldn't really beat you up too much. You'll beat the muscle up, but you're not really going to beat your body up too much. So you're going to be able to reduce some of those fuel needs due to that. So the first thing we're going to reduce is carbohydrates. We're going to reduce fats slightly. We want to keep protein up to preserve muscle. You want to treat this almost like a contest prep. Remember, during this period of time, we want to try to progress. We want to try to get better. But what you can also do is set yourself up for a better situation once this all passes. So when's the best time that you grow? Coming out of contest prep. So if you diet a little bit, if you pull back just a little bit, improve your composition, improve your sensitivity, your nutrient partitioning is gonna be better. That way when the gyms reopen, food is plentiful, and you throw it all back in, you're gonna blast up and get a nice rebound out of that. So set yourself up for success with that. You're still gonna make your intra. You're just gonna reduce it a little bit. Another thing that I suggest is doing this with a friend. Again, like I said, it's hard enough to stay motivated and it's hard to keep yourself accountable, but if you're doing it with a friend, you can keep each other accountable. It'll keep things more interesting, and not only that, you can pool your resources, so that's gonna help. Now, a lot of you are gonna be tempted to just look at these exercises like, they're not that hard, they're not that big of a deal, or just not take it that seriously because of what they're typically used to doing. You gotta give this your A game. You gotta give it true effort. Don't stop sets until you have to stop. Everything is going to be a failure. Absolutely everything. We want to keep tension on the target muscle. That means time under tension, constant tension. Never relinquishing tension on the target muscle. No pausing between reps, no locking out, none of that shit. We don't have the heavy weights, so we have to increase stress in another form. What this is going to do is this is actually going to increase your sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, which is the amount of glucose and energy that your muscles can store within the muscle. So when you do that, your muscles get bigger, rounder, fuller. So now is the time to really work on your shape and try to make your muscles pop a little bit more. Time under tension. So the name of the game here is pain. The more pain you can take, the better it's going to be. But you have to take it very, very serious. You have to be focused. Unwavering time under tension is going to be everything. When you drop, that's when your set's done. Now, we're taking this seriously, right? We got to keep a logbook. Remember we talked about progressive overload, but we can't do progressive overload with weights. So how are we going to do progressive overload? Well, we can beat reps, we can make an exercise harder, we can slow the tempo, we can do different things like that. But you've got to know what you've done in order to have something to beat. So set the bar high for yourself, set a bar and get over it each and every time. When you have a goal, it's going to help you. It's going to help you stay motivated. It's going to help you stay driven. And you might even have some fun with this. Who knows? But if you don't set that bar for yourself, you're just going to be randomly doing bullshit and it's not going to work. It's going to be the same thing as just going to the gym and doing random shit that just not paying attention to anything, and you won't get anywhere. So set the bar. Give yourself a goal. Take this very serious. When it's workout time, it's workout time. It's not, honey, take out the trash time. No, I'm at the gym. I'm not home. I'm not here. It doesn't work like that. No, you can't go do the thing that you forgot about or something real quick that your wife needs you to do or that your kids need you. You're not home. You're not there. It's it. You do what you need to do now. You do it after. You start getting into the mindset that the workout can be interrupted. You're not going to take it serious. Now, the last thing is going to be recovery. Things like nervous system, tendons, ligaments usually need a long time to recover along with the muscles after our workouts. However, most of these exercises are not going to be super heavy loads. So those components aren't going to be as beat up as our muscles potentially can be. So we're going to be able to increase our frequency a little bit. We're going to be able to do a little bit higher volume, but you need to manage your recovery. This is a new workout to you. Remember that. Just like I mentioned when you bring in a new exercise, it might hit you harder than what you think. That leg workout that I posted that I did during the NCAA wrestling match, that beat the fuck out of my legs because my body was not ready for it. The pistol squats were hard as shit. And then the time under tension with the bands, the tension just never came off my legs. And I had an insane amount of byproduct built up. And it was burning, it was painful, and I was sore for days. So be mindful that this is going to be difficult for you because it's something that you've never done. So you have to manage your recovery. You're going to be at home. You're going to be bored. That's going to happen. But don't just jump up and do a workout because you're bored. You wouldn't do that with your normal bodybuilding. Don't do that here because you're not going to recover. If you end up jumping into a workout and you don't beat your performance from last time or the contractions don't really feel good or something doesn't feel right, guess what? You jumped the gun. You went too soon. Boredom is going to set in. Keep yourself distracted. But section off and allot this time for your workouts. Take it serious during this time. Recomposition, prime your body, and set yourself up for success in the future as well. All right, well, these videos are last minute, and these are going to be as rough and choppy as possible. So this is straight out of my home, and we're going to go over things. So First thing I want to do is I want to go over rep execution. As mentioned previously in the introduction, we have to be very, very tight on time under tension. Rep execution is everything. When we release tension, you're making it easier. You're making it easy on yourself. You're not going to get anywhere. We don't have any kind of heavy weight right now. It's not going to be that hard. And these are movements that we're really, really, really not used to. So we're not going to be very efficient at doing them either. So the only way you're going to get something out of this is to really challenge yourself. So we need to chase that pain. Pain is the main word that we're going to use. Chase that burn, chase that pain, make it harder on yourself. Whenever you're doing these exercises, I want you to think of it like this. A lot of my clients are familiar with my term squeeze sets. And what do I call a squeeze set? A squeeze set is simply a set that you make harder on yourself. I want you to, for example, pick an exercise you can do X amount of weight for 15 reps. Now, I want you to make sure you fail at 12. If you get 13, you didn't do it right. So how does that change things? Well, you're not going to try to explode. You're not going to release tension. What you might do is you might go slower, you might squeeze more, but make it harder on yourself to make it count. So I'm going to demonstrate this with just a basic push-up. We're going to step back. We're going to get into our push-up position. And one of the things that we're not going to do is this. We're not doing that. We're not jerking around. We're not throwing our weight off our hands. And we're not releasing tension. The way we're going to do our push-ups or any of our movements is strict time under tension. So we know with a chest press, if we were to completely lock out, we'd lose tension on our chest. So we're going to go all the way down and we're going to go almost all the way up. So under control, squeeze, squeeze, head neutral, not up. Under control, squeezing that chest. No pausing between reps. And that's how we're going to execute. All right? So now that we know how we want to execute our reps, we're going to go into our warm-up. Chest is what we're going to lead off with. It's what everybody seems to like the most. Legs I've already done. I'm going to attach this to my old video, and I'm going to throw in some new exercises for you guys. But what we're going to do is just going to do a normal warm-up. Now, we always warm up light, right? Say you're flat benching, which I hate. You start with the bar, then you start with 135, something very, very light. So, well, what's light to get us activated? Well, a push-up would be a little bit heavier than light. So, most of us are pretty heavy. So, we'll just do it on the counter. Nice and easy. Elbows behind your hands, making sure you feel it in your chest. A couple sets of that, everything should start to be active. Everything should start to be firing. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go down into a normal push-up, right? Which is still light for most of us, but we're just warming up. And I hate you guys because I'm sore as fuck from yesterday. All right, so once we get through that and we're nice and warmed up, we're not really gonna have an opportunity to pyramid up too much because we don't have weights to play with. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the difficulty of our exercises and we're gonna structure this workout based on how difficult they are. So level 1 would probably be the hardest ones. Level 2, a little bit easier. We might wanna go higher reps or we might wanna do them second. Level 3, pretty easy. So how do we make a push-up harder? Okay, well, we can move our body weight pretty easy with two hands, right? But it's gonna be hard with one hand. Now, if we were to do a one-arm push-up, we have the stabilization aspect, and we can't really stay parallel to the floor with our body. So how do we make ourselves able to do a one-arm push-up without that? And it's just basically an offset push-up, just like this. I'm sure you guys have seen people go side to side, but that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep emphasis on one side at a time. One arm is gonna bear the majority of the weight from the load, while the other arm just stabilizes you so that you can stay parallel and keep that chest in the range of motion where it's working. We can do this a few ways. We can go one arm at a time, then the other side. We can go one arm and we can shift back and forth, which I'm gonna demonstrate. And the beauty of shifting back and forth, it's almost like an alternating dumbbell curl. One side, then the other side. One side, then the other side. Now, the beauty of that is, one side is not fatiguing faster than the other, so it's pretty even. So we can do a drop set. Once we can't do any more, we can go into 2 arms and really bang that set out to failure. This is gonna be harder than you think. I can already feel my body weight plus how sore I am. And I didn't really potentiate and wake my nervous system up, so I'm a little bit struggling, but I'm gonna demonstrate. So, I'm gonna step back so you can see where my hands are. If I want to make it harder on one side, I'm simply gonna drift to that one side. You're gonna get more tricep out of it, but your chest is gonna work harder than the other side. See my fingers? There's not much weight on this hand. It's all on the left arm right now. So now if we want to alternate, and it's harder than it looks. Drop set right into here. But that would be what I would consider a level 1. Now, if you have hex dumbbells that don't roll, I prefer to do my push-ups on a hex dumbbell. Neutralizes my wrist just a little bit more. And what you can also do is you can go to a neutral grip and get a more efficient chest contraction. You could also move your grips in triceps and everything, but we'll talk about that later. So I have my hands neutral here. I can come here, and that's a much better contraction for me. I can go 3/4, or I can go completely pronated. But again, with these dumbbells, I can also get a little bit more depth now and more stretch on the chest because I can go past where my hands are. We don't want to do that with free weights or when we're training, but sorry, I'm breathing a little heavy here because I haven't stopped talking and lifting. But we can with this because it's not as heavy a load and it's safer. So we put the muscle on more of a stretch, we get more stimulus as long as we can keep it in play and contracted. So we can get deeper than those dumbbells. Remember, you're not arching your chest, you're not dropping your hips, your back is staying flat, head is straight, not up. Everything is neutral. But I prefer to use dumbbells. Now, if you wanna take this one step further, you have somebody at home, you have kids, your wife is light, something like that. Or you just have maybe a plate that somebody can hold on top of your back. You want the weight distributed on your upper back, not on your lower back, not on your ass, not on your shoulders. You want the weight distributed on your upper back. But if you can have somebody lie on you, sit on you, as long as you're strong enough to support their weight. Don't have somebody kind of put their weight on you because it's too erratic. It has to be uniform weight in order for this to work. But if you could support their weight, lying on you, it would probably be more efficient. If somebody sat on your upper back with all of their body weight, now you're talking about really, really high resistance. But if you can do it, go for it. Now, another level 3 exercise would be to do push-ups, or level 1 exercise, I'm sorry, would be push-ups with bands. Now, this is gonna bring your triceps into play more. So, what we're gonna do to make sure that triceps are a little bit less in play and chest is a little bit more in play, we're just gonna widen our grip. So, this is gonna go behind our back, across the upper back, hands here, place down, and instead of here, my hands are gonna come out here. That's gonna take the triceps tension out a little bit, place more on the chest. And you really wanna get that squeeze at the top. And again, if you wanna be badass, go side to side. I don't think I can do 10 of these. And then into here. It's pretty difficult. Now, one thing I don't suggest anybody does is their feet elevated for push-ups for their upper chest, simply because it's the opposite range of motion of what you want. When we're trying to do an incline press, we're pressing up over our face. If you were to do it with your feet elevated, your hands would actually be starting up and pressing downward, which we don't want. It would be like doing an incline press like this, coming up and forward instead of up this way, the way we traditionally do it. However, if you want, you can elevate your hands and you can do a decline press. That would be considered a level 2 exercise, simply because it's a little bit easier. There's less weight on you. Now, you also could pre-exhaust before all of this. And we can do some flies with our bands. It's not gonna be terribly heavy, but if you're smart about it, you get a nice squeeze and contraction at the top. Now, I'm gonna demonstrate something on a stool here, but you guys might want to use something else at home. Most of us don't have a flat bench, so I'm gonna use this. Now, we can do dumbbell flies on here with our upper back supported, chest up, squeezing, right? However, we lose tension at the top. If we use the bands, we don't get much tension at the bottom, but we do get a lot of tension at the top. So if we wanted to mimic cable curls, or cable flies, I'm sorry, what would we do? We simply combine them. Dumbbells are heavier at the bottom, bands are heavier at the top. So you grab your bands, they go across your back, pick your dumbbells up, settle into position, and now this feels just like a cable. Tension at the top and at the bottom. You could also move this into a press. And this is now much more uniform tension, because at the bottom, again, this would be a little too light if it was just the band, but the dumbbells are making it heavier at the bottom. And as the dumbbells get lighter at the top as you lock out, the bands are getting tighter. So you're flattening out that strength curve as far as trying to keep uniform tension is concerned. So now, if we want to hit incline, drop your ass and press up. Same thing with your flies. And while I'm going through all these exercises, I will be posting routines that you can follow to compile all of these exercises. Now, at the very end of your chest work, if you want to do some explosive push-ups or some clapping push-ups, you can do that. All right, now we're gonna go into back. And we're gonna go into two parts for back. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my horizontal movements. Then we're gonna go into our vertical movements. And I'm gonna show you how we could do this with just some small dumbbells and a band. If you have heavier dumbbells, great. If you don't, you can still do it with the band or some lighter dumbbells. It helps. I have a couple dumbbells set up here, just simply to anchor my weight, because I don't have anywhere to tie it right here in the kitchen where I'm doing this video, but I would find a better spot. Simply just loop it around, pull it through, and pull it tight. Now, I'm not trying to create a lot of tension for myself. I'm just trying to demonstrate the exercises. Obviously, I would make this a lot more taut if I was trying to make it harder. So, all I'm gonna do again is I'm gonna lie across my bench with my upper back. And I'm simply gonna perform a pullover with the band. Just like this. Now, again, what is the problem with the strength curve when we do it that way? Well, we're getting a lot of tension at the top. We're not getting a lot of tension on the stretch. If we were to use the dumbbell, we get a lot of tension down here and not a lot up here, which is typically fine if we have heavy dumbbells. But we probably don't have heavy enough dumbbells to make this effective. So what do? We want more uniform tension. So the way we do that is, again, just like the chest video, use the dumbbell and the band at the same time. So I'm just gonna take my band, I'm gonna lay back, I'm gonna loop my dumbbell through it, place my hands on the band to hold it, and now we have tension at the bottom and tension at the top. Now, next thing I'm going to do is we're going to go into some rows and we're going to go into some deadlifts. A lot of you are wondering how we're going to do deadlifts if we don't have a bar. Well, we don't need a bar. Again, we're not trying to blow out heavy weight. We're trying to keep time under tension, lots of reps, lots of metabolic stress. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the setup. Move this out of the way. We're just going to step on the band and widen it so that there's tension. Now that it's widened, if we were to do a dumbbell row, we could, but we probably don't have heavy enough dumbbells, do we? Now, we could use the band to just row, but it's very odd to grip. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this dumbbell, between these two fingers right here, between my middle finger and my ring finger, is where the band is gonna go. And I'm gonna grip the dumbbell like a handle. So now, not only do I have a handle now, but I have tension all the way through, top to bottom. And it gets harder on the squeeze. Now, if I wanna make this harder on myself, slide closer to the foot. The tighter the band is, the more the resistance. If we wanna make it really hard, we get it under both bands. Now, that's a lot of tension. What we can do is, I can take my bench again, tighten these bands the way I need them, set that dumbbell, grab it my way, brace here. I'm getting a really strong contraction at the top. So strong that I'm actually considering adding this into my normal routine when the gym's open back up. Now, next thing, we want a deadlift, right? Well, we can deadlift right here from these bands. I could use the single, which is easy, double, which makes it harder. However, probably still not heavy enough for us, right? And it's getting harder as we come up, but there's not really any tension at the bottom. Again, we fixed that problem with our dumbbells. I'm gonna place my dumbbells underneath both bands, grab them between my middle finger and my ring finger, and I can hold them neutral, I can hold them any way I want, but now, getting a lot more tension. Now, you might say I'm doing more of a sumo deadlift because my feet are so far apart. Well, that's easy. You just twist and double loop these. So, one foot is going here, the other foot is going here. Now, I don't suggest you try to do all four, because that's a tremendous amount of tension at the top. You can start with one. I can feel that. You can go to two. That's actually pretty hard. I can narrow my feet, release some of the tension, still pull and squeeze. Or I can just take my dumbbells and grab one with my grip, widen it outside my feet, and up. And this will work as a stiff leg too, which we can go over later. But as far as horizontal movements, you can use those single arm, you can do them two arm, you can change your tempo, You can hold on the squeeze. You can try to get more of a stretch. You can change your torso angle, 90 degrees, 45 degrees. If you change your torso angle 45 degrees, there's gonna be more tension on the bands, heavier at the top, but it's gonna be going into all your strong upper back muscles. So that's gonna translate very well. You need more weight for those and the bands get tighter. So you might wanna do some reps forward at 90, at a complete 90, horizontal to the ground, and then up at 45, and hit your upper back muscles as well. You can do shrugs as well. Standing up with the dumbbells, into the bands, shrug up, just to keep complete constant tension and add to the load just a little bit more. All right, guys, vertical movements are gonna be a little bit more difficult. However, if you have a pull-up bar, that is all you need. You can lean back as much as you can, try to drive it across your mid-back, or even drive your hands low to try to get more lat. You can pull with your elbows back, try to hit more of your teres and upper mid-back. You can drive your hands neutral to get a mix of both. You can drive your hands forward to try to get more lat into it. You can vary, hang here and pull into here. You could go close grip. You can go supinated grip, really drive into your lats, leaning back. So there's many, many different things you can do with a pull-up bar. However, if you don't have a pull-up bar, I don't suggest all you heavy motherfuckers start doing pull-ups from the doorways and on the doors and ripping the doors off the handles and pissing off your wives. So we're gonna do something with a band now. Now, it's not gonna be a ton of tension. You're gonna wanna do these last. But if we keep time under tension again and really, really challenge ourselves, then we're gonna get enough stimulus for what we need to at least keep ourselves in the game until the gyms come back. So if you can see what I did, I just wrapped a band around both door handles, not just one, so it comes flying off and smacks you in the face. And we're just gonna remember that if we're pulling 2, it's gonna be harder than pulling 1. Obviously, I hope all of you guys would have figured that out. So what we can do is we can start bent over at 90 degrees, standing with 2 arms, like this. Or if you happen to have a stool, like I do, or a chair, then you can literally put your chest on it and we can pull here. Now, we can pull this way, we can drive our elbows up, or we can drive our elbows down, or we can even lift our chest a little bit, and this is gonna hit more lat. When we try to posture up a little bit and lift up a little higher, that's gonna be more lat. We can go wide, we can go close, we can do single arm in an arc. What we can also do is we can brace, just like our single arm rows, and row 1 arm at a time. Bella's trying to get into the video because she misses me. Don't know where she's going. Okay, good girl, Bella. So again, we can go elbow up for upper back. We can go neutral for a mix. It's really gonna help your width. We can go elbow down for lat. Or we could even posture up, which is gonna be even more lat. And if you wanna take it one step further, when you pull, throw a little slight lean into it, and you hit that lower insertion of your lat that attaches to your hip. All right, now we're gonna go into shoulders. Now, shoulders is a little bit different. We can't use bands to do anything to cause more uniform tension like we would get from a cable, simply because as we do any type of raise, the tension's getting higher, just like you would a dumbbell. So I would hope you guys would know how to use dumbbells and bands by now to train delts. So I'm just gonna cover 2 movements, an upright row and a shoulder press. Now, I have my bench sitting against the wall. I took down the picture so the frame doesn't kill me if I knock it down. I'm gonna grab my dumbbells, and it's gonna be as simple as this. We probably don't have heavy enough dumbbells to get the job done. So again, as in the previous videos parts with chest and back, we are going to cause more uniform tension. When we're going to dumbbell press, as the dumbbell gets pressed out over top of us, it gets a little bit lighter. Same thing, the same thing with an upright row. We start to lose tension at the bottom with the band. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cause more uniform tension by using bands and dumbbells. So I'm just gonna simply stand on my bands again, just like before. I'm just gonna do this really, really quick. Again, in between ring finger and middle finger, picking these up, and we're just simply upright rowing. That's actually a lot harder than it looks. And these are only 10-pound dumbbells. So that's gonna be effective. Now, how we're gonna use the bands for a shoulder press is gonna get a little too tight if we're gonna sit there, if we're gonna try to stand on it and press. So instead, I'm just gonna sit on it. Same thing, I'm gonna pick up my dumbbells with this in between my hands, and we're gonna go up with it. I have a bad shoulder, so don't mind me. We're gonna press up. And it gets pretty goddamn hard at the top. You can widen your grip further out on the bands so we can drift a little bit farther out. Again, excuse that bad left shoulder. And that's actually not too easy. So you're gonna get a pretty good lift on shoulders. With those, I suggest you start with your either rear laterals or your side laterals. You can do them single arm, double arm, alternating. You can do them high reps, low reps, however you see fit. But you shouldn't need much heavier than maybe a 30-pound dumbbell to really smoke your delts with raises. You could do front raises too. Then you can go into your upright rows and your presses at the end. You don't need 100, 150-pound dumbbells to get this done. You might not grow from it, but you will get some type of stimulus from it. Keep yourself in shape, train your muscles, keep your metabolic rate moving, get in better shape, and like I said, prime for that blast when the gym open back up. All right, guys, I'm gonna skip past arms because I'm assuming you guys are competent enough to figure out how to use dumbbells to train your arms and some bands. And again, they're gonna be hit from chest, they're gonna be hit from back, they're gonna get a lot of work because of the strength curve the bands cause and the exercises that you're doing. So they don't really need much, they just need a little finishing off. I suggest you group triceps with chest, biceps with back, finish them off and be done with it. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into legs. I decided to film this a little more instructional for you guys. It's the same one that I did with a little bit more explanation, that I've actually done this workout purposely to train my legs because I wanted to watch something that was on television and didn't want to miss it. You know, not what I suggest for most bodybuilders, but it was an important enough program that I didn't want to miss it, and I also didn't want to miss the leg workout, so I did them both, and my legs were ungodly sore for days. So without talking too much more, we're going to go into it and challenge yourself. This is going to be hard. This is going to be pretty damn hard for you. So we're going to step back, and first thing we're gonna do is we are just gonna warm up our legs a little bit. We probably don't have any extension. We probably don't have a curl, and bands are not really that efficient at doing them. You can balance things on them and do them your own way, but you know, it doesn't really work that well for me, seemingly. So I don't really suggest it. All I suggest is you warm up with some light bodyweight squats, stationary lunges, walking lunges, open up your mobility, because you're really gonna have to open up your mobility for that first exercise. It's fucking hard. So you're gonna just take a nice shoulder width stance, hands in front of you, and just gonna, my mobility is pretty good, so don't really go off of mine, but just get nice and warm. I don't suggest you do full reps to begin. Start with half reps, increase your depth as you go. Start to increase your mobility, stretch out your calves. You're gonna stretch out your hip flexors with some deep lunges. So we're gonna be doing squats, wide stance, move it in, toes out a little bit. We're gonna go with our lunges. I'm gonna do these stationary so you can see. We're gonna start with a very short step. This is gonna be very quad active dominant, not much stretch. Then we're gonna open up the stance. What we're gonna do is we're still gonna stay forward, and the hip flexors just end up stretching on the back leg. And this is what's gonna help you with your mobility. Then, if your mobility is good, we can take it a step further. So I'm almost doing a split. And you get to the ground. See how I'm beyond 90 degrees here? I have pretty good mobility. Same thing on the other side. Real big stretch. Here, I can even step back. Not holding on. Here. And what you want to make sure you do is when we take that step, we want to make sure we're turning away from that back leg to stretch his hip flexor out. But when we do it, we don't want to let this knee go that way. We want to get a good stretch in the glute too. So if you need to, grab your hand, grab your knee with your hand, pull it across. Keep that aligned so that your mobility is nice and good. Now we can go into some bodyweight squats. Just to get those legs pumped. Should be pretty easy. Keep that tension. Now, once we have everything going, you might actually want to do some stiff legs too. You can grab your light dumbbells. And just like I always suggest with regular stiff legs, you don't need 405 to do stiff leg deadlifts. Bobo is trying to get in the video now. It's his time to eat. I know, Bobo. So the way you're going to make this exercise harder is just reaching out further in front of you. You can turn a 405 rear deadlift into, you can use 135, but get the tension of 405 just by moving where your hands are. So when we're doing these, we don't have to be against the body. We're just going to reach out. And this makes it heavier. Reaching towards your toes. Now, this first exercise, I suggest everybody hold on the first time. It's real hard to do without holding on. And you might not have the power output to do it single leg. We're gonna do a pistol squat. And a pistol squat is a one-legged squat with your foot forward, not back. If you can't do these, you can do a single leg squat with your foot back, either propped up on a bench, or you can just do it standing to here. But pistol squat's gonna be your hardest one. And this is the one we wanna do. So I suggest you hold on. My legs are still very, very sore from Friday. And you're gonna sit and stand. And from the side, sore as fuck. Let's see if I can do this. Just gonna sit and up, just like that. And you're gonna basically pick your rep range. I was doing 19 rep ranges because that's my favorite number, and I needed higher reps when my legs are fresh to really exhaust the movement. But I'm pretty good at the movement. I'm very explosive, and I have very good mobility. Most of you aren't gonna be able to do 19 reps. You'd be lucky if you do 3 or 4. So simply hold on to something and just like this. Same thing, other side. Hold on, sit, and up. Now, try not to lean back and pull yourself up. That makes the movement easy. I can lean back like this and pull myself up, I'm exaggerating, all day. That's too easy. So avoid doing that. When you can no longer do reps like this, we're gonna go into our next exercise. And we're gonna do a stationary lunge, or call it a split squat, whatever you wanna call it, with the band wrapped around your neck. So one foot on the band, the other behind your neck. And I'm gonna step back so you can see it. Now, we're just gonna do our lunges. Tension's high at the top, lighter at the bottom. So if we wanna cause more uniform tension, grab your dumbbells. Now you have tension at the bottom and at the top. Now, when we can't do any more unilateral movements, we're gonna go into our bilateral movements. So we're gonna go into a squat. And remember, where the band is now, I'm hard time getting it on my shoe. The wider my feet are, the more adductor I'm gonna get into it, but also the more tension I'm gonna get into it. It's harder when I go like this. It's easier, closer. So I'm just gonna squat down, put it around my neck, fix my hat, and get my knees inside, and we're simply gonna squat. Now, tension's low at the bottom, grab your dumbbells. Nice and simple. So, from here, we could also use this for our stiff legs. Keep it around your neck, grab your dumbbells, and up. On the side, because when you come down, there's not a ton of tension here with the band that the dumbbells will add. Now, after all this, a lot of you guys like to do burnouts, extensions, curls, high rep leg press. The one that I like to use, even in the gym, is wall sits followed by walking lunges, explosive walking lunges. Slow on the way down, slow on the eccentric, explode up. And when I explode up, I try to pick my back foot up. So if I can demonstrate, I'm gonna go with a wall sit. Feet not too far out, just so my knees hit 90 degrees. And then what I'm doing is I'm trying to grip the floor with my feet, but I'm trying to slide my feet out from under me at the same time to activate my quads. My quads are very, very active right now. And then when I'm done with those, I'll hold maybe 20, 30 seconds. And I go into a walking lunge. I'm trying to pick this back foot up. Again, take that step, watch my back foot. Before I come up, try to pick it up, drive up and through. When you can't do any more walking lunges, stop in place, do partial rep mid-range squats. And if you really want to be badass, I forgot where I saw these, they're not mine. They're duck walk lunges. So you're just essentially lunging without coming up. And those will fuck your quads up. If you can't get a good workout out of this, there's not much more I can tell you. Follow the steps at the beginning of the video. Do what you need to do. Block out the time. Take this seriously. If you have access to some better equipment, maybe at home, maybe you have a barbell, maybe you have a squat rack, who knows? Obviously, use the more difficult shit first, and then throw the rest of this in as needed. So, best of luck. Hopefully, we're all back in the gym soon. We continue getting big.